Bobby, you tell me when. Ready? I'd like to call to order the Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting for December 21st, 2021. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer, absent. Mr. Neal?
Here.
Mr. Oper?
Here.
Mr. Slattery?
Here.
Mrs. Barczyk, absent.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a quick announcement, as Mrs. A has noted, we have two board members that are sick, and they've taken this evening off, so wish them well, speedy recovery. On to the next thing is comments from visitors. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his or her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had an opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Is there anybody? We do not have. Next, we're going to go into Dr. Polaris, Superintendent's report.
Good evening, Mr. Neal, Mr. Slattery, Mr. Oper. A few comments this evening. I'm going to start with the agenda review. We'll start with item 4.1. 4.1 is our annual approval of next year's program of study. Minor changes in the program of study. Mr. Hare and his team has cleaned up a little bit of the recommendation process for courses in the, for students to choose their courses. Biggest change will be addition of a financial literacy required course for incoming freshmen, in which that will be part of a requirement for graduation. And speaking to Mr. Hare, part of what he wants to do with this is it's going to be kind of that real application course where we haven't seen the curriculum from the state of Ohio, which tells me we're going to have some flexibility in how we teach that. We do have a current financial literacy course, but he'll be freshening that up in terms of making sure that there's real application for kids as they walk out the door. So my guess is students will take that in either their freshman or sophomore year before they have an opportunity to either go to CCP or to enter Polaris, okay? Item 4.2 is an MOU between the Board of Education and BEA on supplemental positions. This is truly just cleaning up positions. There were, for example, there was in the contract there was no assistant girls varsity soccer coach. So we've just cleaned up some language to make sure that it recognizes the positions we have. No additional cost to the district in doing so. Item 4.3, another MOU between the Board of Education and Brooklyn Education Association. This is this OTES 2.0 language cleanup, where an OTES 2.0 really does nothing other than just make sure we're clear in terms of what are the expectations for administration in terms of the evaluation process.
Following guidelines.
Following guidelines, that's exactly right. Item 4.4, another MOU between Board of Education and BEA. This is to assist with the period sub shortage down at basically the pre-K through 7 campus, and two scenarios will happen. So if we have 4 teachers in a grade level and one of those teachers are out for the day, it will allow us to take that class and split them evenly among the other 3 sections. So we have second grade students with second grade teachers. We do that as a last resort, but we've gotten to a point where substitutes are at a premium. So this is going to help alleviate some of that stress and that pressure on the other staff members in terms of that period subbing. Also, it compensates the title teachers and the intervention specialist. So it's sometimes we have to reassign them completely to another grade level. If that happens, we give them 2 period subs, a 2 period sub stipend for the preparation during that day of that reassignment. If they end up getting reassigned to another grade level for half the day, they get 1 period assignment. So it's just helping alleviate some of that stressor in terms of period subbing. Item 4.5, this is the approval of the joint refurbishment project with Polaris Career Center for our home side concession stand at Brooklyn Stadium. And this just will allow us to approve and begin that process. I'm still waiting on final numbers from GPD. Mrs. Neal's working on that. They're coming in slowly, coming in a little bit lower than we thought, which is a good thing. But this will allow us to kick off that project once we begin in January.
And this is in conjunction with the athletic boosters, correct?
We will, correct. So
They're
we'll,
tied into this.
they are tied into
This
this,
is
but we'll
just
accept
get
their,
it
yeah.
moving.
We'll accept, this gets it moving on our end,
Right.
and we'll accept their donation come January.
They're a very good group of people. We need to get them in the fold.
4.6 is a early completion of graduate requirements for one of our students. 5.1, with Ms. Kalish leaving the district effective January 31st. We're going to keep her on as basically an at-will consultant to help us finish some things that she has going. Basically, E-rate, CCIP, some of our grant funding. She'll help us with some of that completion, but that's an up to stipend. 5.2 is a stipend approval for Supriya Coolton. Supriya will be taking over basically the bulk of Mrs. Kalish's duties effective after January 31st. Okay. 5.3, a certified resignation. 5.4 is a commendation for that resignation. 5.5, so Ms. Chrisman, who has resigned, was also our 3rd grade team leader. So she's resigned that 3rd grade team leader position. Now Ms. Green, Samantha Green, will be taking over as our 3rd grade team leader for the second half of the year. Okay. And that would be the agenda items on my side of the house. Any questions on those, Mr. Neal, Mr. Slattery, Mr. Oper?
No, not at this moment.
Great. Couple things just want to mention. We had Brooklyn Cares, our annual Brooklyn Cares program. That happened last week. Mrs. Marquis, Mrs. Paul, all the staff involved. I just want to thank them for everything that they did to help with our students and our families. It was a success as always, and again, just a major thank you to everybody who donated and who was involved. Last thing is just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see everybody back on Tuesday, January 4th when we return back to school.
Thank you.
That's my report, Mr. Neal.
Appreciate it. On to the treasurer's report.
Thank you. I have a couple of things on the agenda. First is student activities. I like to have them all at once in the summer, but we have some intermittent stragglers coming in. So we have a Special Olympics activity for approval on the agenda. And then I also have a contract recommendation for Ms. Diana Marr. And then in the upcoming meeting, we have the tax budget hearing, and the recommendation will be held at the January 4th organizational meeting per requirement. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. On to comments from board members, board committee reports. We're going to start off with Mr. Jim Oper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
There you go.
Polaris, we had our December meeting last week, and welcomed Rocky onto the board as Brooklyn's holds the extra seat for the 22 calendar year. We had a little dinner,
It was a wonderful meal.
followed by the meeting. Information on enrollment applications for the 22-23 school year was shared. Of the 18 programs offered, 15 are at the limit or over. This can be viewed in a few different ways. The great amount of success that Polaris graduates have enjoyed has manifested itself in early enrollment, or increased enrollment, I should say, so much that the usual early January communication to the community looking for additional students won't be happening this year. Class sizes for one session are limited to 25. usually, so it was decided the limits will be increased to 28 to account for the usual decision reversals of some students going back to their home districts full-time. If the classes stay at 28, that won't be an issue as far as learning is concerned. There's still room in digital art and design, there's a couple spots in HVAC, and there's a dozen spots in precision CNC machining. The downside, to me at least, is that I believe that other board members of Polaris are growing tired of seeing Brooklyn always at the highest ratio of students, and have really driven home the message of the Polaris advantage. Instead of being first, we're now 5th out of 6th, with only 37% of our juniors applying. It's not necessarily a bad thing, as there could be more juniors interested in going directly to college, so no real complaints. Just kudos to Polaris for providing the model for career training in Ohio for other career techs to aspire to. Lastly, this will be my last meeting on the board. It's meant a lot to me, a lot more than people know. It's given me an opportunity to meet people that I would have never met and shared and exchanged opinions and ideas. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to serve the Brooklyn City School District, the community, and especially the children of our district for over a decade. I would also like to acknowledge the community for its ongoing financial support of the district. You have been truly generous in your support of education. Next, I'd like to thank the board members I've been privileged to work with, past members Roy Field, Tim Legier, Kit Kraus, Jen O'Banion, Matt O'Brien, Carl Etheridge, and my current colleagues Rocky Neal, Rick Singer, Bonnie Barczyk, and Rob Slattery. We shared some good times and not so good times, and made some good decisions and difficult decisions. But no matter what the issues and challenges were, we've always worked for what was best for our students and fair for our employees. Public sees a 5-0 end result of approving resolutions, but like a duck on the surface of a lake, it looks pretty easy there, but there's a lot going on under the surface or behind the scenes. And then there are also the employees of the district. These are the folks who are the heart and soul of the system. We have the support staff, the folks who drive the buses, cook the meals, keep the building clean and maintained, plow and shovel the snow, and do hundreds of other things without which we could not operate a school system. To each of you goes special thanks. Next are the administrative teams. Past superintendents Jeff Lampert, Cynthia Walker, Mark Glykoff, and treasurers Marty Farian and Todd Hopkins. I've learned the ins and outs of school business from each and every one of them. These folks provided the leadership for the district, and they're the implementers of policies that come from the Board of Education. Not to be forgotten are all the past and present principals who have provided and provide building leadership and guidance. It goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. My earlier comment about providing the leadership for the district and the implementers of policies that come from the board also goes for today. And a heartfelt special mention for our current administrative group, headed up by Ted and Colleen. These folks give untold hours to the management of the district and are the ones responsible for the business of educating our student population. The district couldn't be in better hands with them. I'll leave it at that. They know how I feel about them. They're all the wonderful people out there who volunteer their time, talents, and financial support to the district. Your help's amazing, and the mission of educating our children is truly made easier by your involvement. You're truly the personification of educating everyone. Educating everyone takes everyone. This position has also given me the opportunity to become immersed in career tech at Polaris. It's become a passion of mine discovering all the myriad pathways of vocational training and education, and seeing the renovation of the building come to fruition, and seeing what a jewel it is and how it's the envy of every other career tech institute in Ohio. Thanks to Bob Timmons, who I learned an awful lot from. Since starting my work life back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I'm constantly amazed at the changes. Lastly, and most importantly, there are the teachers and paraprofessionals who support them. You are a dedicated group of very special people who are very hard to assist them. Every year, teaching becomes more demanding and difficult, especially in times like we have today. Yet you've collectively risen to these new demands and work to make the system better for our children. Just the feeling that a teacher gets when they've explained a concept to a child and seeing the gleam in their eye, that tells the teacher that they get it. Knowing that I had a small part in that is all the reward I'll really need. When I went to camp years ago, we were always told to leave the campsite cleaner than when we found it, even if it meant taking out other people's trash. Walking out with an empty bottle of Jack Daniels and a month-old copy of The Plain Dealer was a little strange, but that was the deal. So anything, I hope I left the board a better place than I found it. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Oper. On to Mr. Slattery.
First off, I'd like to thank Jim for all of his years of service. You know, I've sat out in the audience and watched the board, and I always didn't agree with certain things, but having served the past 2 years with you, I have a newfound respect for you. Seeing how, sitting out there, I was like, oh, why does he care so much about Polaris? It's all Polaris, Polaris, Polaris. Well, I didn't see behind the scenes how much all of the students were bringing back to the school and the excitement and the education, all different opportunities. So I get that now. And I think that, you have been a great addition to this. You went to school here, you walked the same halls, and then you were part of leading the school. So I just want to thank you for that. The food drive, it was CARES, is that the?
Brooklyn Cares.
Brooklyn Cares. I got a call, like we have in the past couple of years, through the acres. We came up and picked up a ton of stuff, and we distributed it to a bunch of families that needed it. So it did get to everybody, that needed a helping hand at this time. So I appreciate everybody that had a hand here with that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The addition and update of the program for the financial literacy, I think that's awesome. We can't push that enough. Rec board meeting was canceled. And lastly, for facilities, with Dr. Ted reading the update, or the review of the agenda, the concession stand upgrade is coming. We're able to lower the cost to the district by using the Polaris students. I've said it before, it's for us, by us. I mean, it's, excuse me, just a great thing. And I have to say that being involved in all this, everyone's working together in the same direction. And I think we're going places. And Jim, you were a huge part of that. And it wasn't always that way, but it is now. And you are leaving this place better than you found it. So. That's it.
All good?
Yep.
All right. First thing is I'm on the legislative committee. I'm gonna push it back to next month. I'll give my report then. I wanna wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Safe couple weeks season. Let's see if we can turn what we got going on around somehow, some way. It's gonna be tough, but I think we can do it. I came onto the board a little before Jim. We were close, and I tell the rest of the board members, we had, in the first 3 to 6 months, we had one of the toughest jobs together. We had to make some cuts, and we were all newbies, and it was interesting. So if you're gonna do this job, there's gonna be some ups, and there's gonna be some downs. There's gonna be some rewards, then there's gonna be some tough times. If there's any time, hopefully, knock on wood, recently, we've been on a roll. But I've been with Jim, probably the longest, or somewhere in that ballpark. I'm currently gonna be with him on Polaris, and I appreciate his knowledge with that. In our backroom meetings, like we said, sometimes we don't all agree. On camera, we agree, but sometimes in the back room, we have a difference of opinion. But I give Jim credit for, he is a word man. When we needed a word for something to put into something, Jim had that word for us. That's a Brooklyn education, 1974, a while ago. So I just want to say, Jim, thanks for everything you've done. I'm very fortunate to call you a friend, regardless of, we've had difference of opinions, and we both know that.
Right.
But I believe he'll pick up the phone when I do call him when he's not here. So I thank you for all you've done for this school, pushing this forward, and continue plan on working with you. All right, so thank you. Appreciate everything you've done. Now we're gonna go on to the approval of minutes and financial statements. Tonight's reader is gonna be me. Resolved that the minutes of the December 7th Board of Education regular meeting and December 8th and 15th special meetings be adopted, and all action be taken by the Board. The education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the Brooklyn High School Program of Study for 2022-2023 school year. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, can I have questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
pursuant to RC 3313.48 and applicable laws, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves and enters into memorandum of understanding with the Brooklyn Education Association and the Ohio Education Association to address the supplemental positions as listed in the attachment effective 2021-22, 2022-23 school year. Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Pursuant to RC 3313.48 and applicable laws, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves and enters into a memorandum of understanding with the Brooklyn Education Association, Ohio Education Association, OEA, to clarify the procedures of the evaluations of the teachers' unions, the OTES 2.0 model per attachment. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, could you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Pursuant to RC 3313.48 and applicable laws, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves and enters into a memorandum of understanding with Brooklyn Education Association and the Ohio Education Association to address addition of period substitute language in Brooklyn School pre-K through 7 for the 2021-22 school and 2022-23 school year per attachment. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Ms. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the project to refurbish the Brooklyn Stadium home concession stand at 4500 Hurricane Alley in partnership with Polaris Career Center during the 2022 calendar year. Cost estimates are on file in the treasurer's office. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Ms. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby acknowledges the student listed below as having completed all graduation requirements for Brooklyn High School and therefore approves the graduation of the said student effective January 20th, 2022, Stephen Perrier. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Congratulations.
Good
Yes.
job. Good job,
Congratulations.
son. Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the second reading and adoption of the following board policy. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. The policy number is 0141.2, conflict of interest. We got a motion, we already have a second. Questions, comments? Ms. A, could you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the 20 days, 160 hours of consulting transition for Michelle Kalish at the daily rate of $423.08 per day, effective February 1st, 2022 through July 31st, 2022, to assist with transition and coordination of professional development and curricular services of 2021-22 school year. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Say, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the $5,000 stipend paid in quarterly increments for Supriya Kulpit to support professional development, curricular initiatives, and other items assigned by the superintendent for the second semester of 2021-2022 school year. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
1 second, turn the page. Resolved that the Brooklyn City Schools Board of Education hereby approves the resignation of Kim Chrisman, Title I tutor, 3rd grade team leader, effective December 31st, 2021. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
The Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends Kim Chrisman for her service and dedication to the students of Brooklyn. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Appreciate your service. Ms. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2021-2022 supplemental teaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all rules, regulations, and State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certification and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to the supplemental contracts hourly as needed. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Questions, comments?
It will not be hourly, that's an error, so I'll take that off. It'll just be
Okay.
it'll just be a .5 FTE, so I'll take that
Okay.
hourly out, Mr. Neal.
All right, Samantha Green, I forgot to mention her name
Yes.
too. Samantha Green, third grade team leader at a .5 FTE. I apologize for that too. Any other questions, comments? Ms. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves their application for the following student activity on file in the Treasurer's Office, Special Olympics Activity Fund, FY 2022. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Ms. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Resignation of employment contract resolution. The Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of Diane Mayer from the Assistant Treasurer 2 employment contract effective December 31st, 2021, contingent upon the board awarding Diane Mayer an Assistant Treasurer 1 employment contract for the period commencing January 1st, 2022, and ending July 31st, 2023, as set forth in December 21st, 2021 employment contract, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Employment contract resolution pursuant to RC 3319.02 and all applicable laws. The Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves and enters into an employment contract with Diane Maynor as an Assistant Treasurer 2 for the period commencing January 1st, 2022, and ending in July 31st, 2023, as set forth in the December 21st, 2021 employment contract, a copy of which is attached to herein and incorporated hereto and incorporated herein. I'm sorry. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Shouldn't that be Assistant
Yes.
Treasurer 1?
Thank you, I was just gonna say, I'm sorry, that should be 1, not 2.
All right, okay, so you
Thank
guys will
you.
correct that. Anybody else? Ms. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Hold on one second. Intent to amend employment contract resolution pursuant to 3319.01 applicable laws of Brooklyn City School District Board of Ed hereby declares an intent to an employment of Dr. Theodore Polaris for the period commencing August 1st, 2020, and ending July 31st, 2023, as set forth in the January 18, 2022 employment contract, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Intent to approve employment contract resolution pursuant to RC 3319.01 and applicable laws. The Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby declares its intent to approve and enter into an employment contract for Dr. Theodore Polaris for the period commencing August 1st, 2023, and ending July 31st, 2026, at set forth the January 18, 2022 employment contract, a copy of which hereto and incorporated herein. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? I do have a comment. We have spoken with Dr. Claris, and I think the board has a very strong person. We feel, I can speak for, I believe, all 5 of us, we have the right person there for a while. For the community of Brooklyn, for the students of Brooklyn, for the staff, the administrative staff, and I think we're doing the right thing as far as speaking to Dr. Polaris about a contract extension.
Yes.
He is someone who spent 12 years here. I think he wants to spend at least another 12, that's my guess.
I got 14, but who's counting, right?
I think he wants to spend another 14.
That's right.
There you go. So, we firmly believe he's the right person for this district, and this is the reason that we have spoken with him about having this conversation. So, I just wanna
Thank you, Mr.
put my
Neal.
cards on the table,
Thank you.
and I believe I can speak for these two gentlemen, I believe the other two
Absolutely.
board members do. All right?
Yep.
So, with that said, anybody else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
This one, I'm gonna trip over my tongue a little bit, just so you guys know. All right?
I was,
You wanna do it?
well, I was gonna, you wanna start the motion, and then I can jump on a discussion, and then I can let you read
All
the,
right.
okay.
Well, let's see. Oh, hold on. We're gonna do a proclamation for Jim Oper for his years of service to the Brooklyn City School District. Mr. Polaris, will you take over?
Yeah, absolutely. I've known, Mr. Oper for a long time, back to my years as middle school principal. When he would come into my office and we would chat, or his wife would chat about the kids, but, Jim has always been a person of integrity, person of honor, and really just a person that has bled blue and gold forever.
Jesus.
And so,
about that. That's
so
That's my picture.
Mr. Oper is truly
Is that the same suit?
forever a Brooklyn Hurricane. And all I can say is that I'm honored to know you. I'm honored to have worked with you as an administrator and you being a parent. I'm honored to have had the opportunity for you to, have me come back 2 years ago. And I'm honored that you're still gonna be with us as a Polaris representative. And really this proclamation doesn't do justice as to your commitment and your love for the staff, students, and the district and Brooklyn community. And so, I don't wanna take the thunder from our Mr. Neal, but, we do have a token of gratitude for you. This proclamation, and it's, Mr. Neal, you want me to read it, or do you want me to?
You can read it.
Okay.
Why don't you do me that?
So whereas Mr.
Couple
Jim,
today.
whereas Mr. Jim Oper has served as an invaluable member of the Brooklyn Board of Education since August 8th, 2007. Whereas Mr. Jim Oper has served as a member of the Polaris Board of Education since July of 2009. Whereas Mr. Jim Oper has devoted his years to education and the well-being of students and their success. And whereas Mr. Jim Oper has devoted and invested countless hours of his personal time to the betterment of the school district. And whereas Mr. Jim Oper successfully fulfilled his duties and responsibilities as a board member. And whereas Mr. Jim Oper has also served both as vice president and president during his years of service. And where Mr. Jim Oper, as a class of 1974 graduate, exhibits hurricane pride in all his doings. And now therefore be resolved by the Brooklyn Board of Education, we hereby express our appreciation, gratitude, and thanks for Mr. Oper's dedication and service to the Brooklyn City School District, the community, and most of all our students. And further resolved that the Brooklyn Board of Education wishes continued success in all his endeavors and expresses our hope for his continued health, happiness, and prosperity. Further resolved that Mr. Jim Oper is forever a Brooklyn Hurricane.
I have one request.
Thank you.
Can we put those photos on the website so more people can see them?
Absolutely. Mr. O'Brien,
Little known fact, that picture was taken before the senior year, and it was July, and I was wearing shorts.
I did the same thing with my senior picture. And the other picture too, probably.
Jim, I can't thank you enough
Thank you.
for everything. Like I said, we've known each other a long time, and we'll continue to talk and be friends after this day. But I just want on behalf of, Rocky, Rob, Rick, Bonnie, just to thank you for everything, and you always have a home here.
Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you very much, it's been an honor.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you bringing back, it was a combination of Harry McCormick and
I thought you were gonna work him into your speech.
Yeah, Harry, by the way, you forgot to.
You know what I feel, Eric.
Yeah. No, that was a big thing for us, and I think we should keep that going. I hope you're part of that as far as that connection from the sixties, the seventies, and the eighties and nineties, and, Brooklyn's a wonderful community, I'm pushing 30 years already, and, I don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
Me either.
You know what I mean? So, thanks again, Jim, for all you've done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And your friendship.
Yeah.
You guys have been a great help,
Yeah.
been a great
Yeah.
help.
Appreciate that. All right.
So, Ms. A, do we want to vote on this?
This is just board business, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
my
just
apologies.
board
Yep,
business.
absolutely, yes,
That
yes,
needs
yes.
to be voted, it's,
That's fine, very
Yeah.
good, yep, absolutely.
hey, all you gotta do is flash those pictures up there, you'll be fine.
You got it.
Anyway, do we have any correspondence related to action information? Any other business? Just a reminder, we do have a December 29th, 5 o'clock special meeting, so it isn't Jim's last meeting. Yeah, but camera meeting. So just a reminder.
Treasurer's office conference room, Mr.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. The other thing too is I would just like to say, Rick, Bonnie, heal, get healthy, speedy recoveries. I did speak to Bonnie. She sounds fine. Well, she doesn't sound fine. She could get mad at me. She doesn't sound fine, but she's fine. You know what I mean? She's better. And then Rick, I have not spoken to, even though I got an email from him. So I hope both you guys are feeling better soon.
Yep.
All right, and again, Merry Christmas to all. Happy New Year. Anybody else?
Good.
All right. Next, we're gonna announcement of the next regular Board of Education meeting. The next meeting will be Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. Treasurer's Office Conference Room, 9200 Bidoff, Brooklyn, Ohio, 6 p.m. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Questions, comments? Motion for, Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.